Okay. One, two, hello. Okay, now we've got audio and video. That's why we start this video just a little bit early. For those of you who are Twitch, welcome to you. I appreciate you being here because, well, it's important that you are here. So, thanks for joining us. Now, as I was saying a little bit ago when you had no audio, you may or may not notice that my surroundings are a little different. I'm just changing it up a little bit, trying to figure something out as we're getting the new studio ready, which, as you might have guessed, is coming along a little slower than anticipated. So it's coming, it's just not ready quite yet. So for those of you on Twitch, on Twitter, and on YouTube, welcome to you. You're actually here just a touch bit sooner than people on, say, the Facebook. And so I am in the process of utilizing my telephonic device, my cellular telephone. In the process of utilizing. Wow. I'm going to start a watch party. On the Facebook, it looks like there's already actually 2 people watching. I can't see who the second person is. However, it's somebody that I believe has joined us directly from the American Soundbite page. So welcome to you, whomever you may be. All right, so the Facebook is running. The YouTube is running. The feed on Periscope, which feeds also to Twitter, is up and running. And Twitch, we know Twitch is going, so that's always a good thing. So, as you know, wow, these lights are really, really, really bright back here in this corner. So, need to be tuned a little bit, but I don't think I'm staying here for very long. Maybe just today or maybe one more show. And then, well, we're moving again. Actually, after tomorrow's show, we've got an exciting series of shows coming up that are literally going to be broadcast on the road. And I literally mean on the road. So it should be interesting. It poses some new challenges because we're going to be using cellular signal, Wi-Fi, whatever they call it, signal for the 5G signal for broadcasting. And we're not sure how that's going to work, but we're trying because, we like to shake it up a little bit. If we fail, that's all right. We'll just fix it and continue to move on. So in the meantime, I'm drinking my, as you can see in the blinded by the light, Dunkin' coffee. I drink Dunkin' not because they make donuts, not because they make, well, the sandwiches I honestly do not enjoy. I drink Dunkin' because of the fact. I drink Dunkin' because of the fact that they make an extra large coffee. And, well, that's reason enough to go to Dunkin' because nobody else has Dunkin'. It's this size. Not this size, most people's larges. Not this size, anybody's mediums. Not this size, some people's smalls. Certainly not just an espresso here first thing in the morning. I need a Dunkin' extra large. So I drive the, 1.3 miles to Dunkin' to get a coffee and start my day the right way. All right, so everything is running. We have people that are here. Again, you people on Twitch, welcome. I'm glad you're here and that it's up and running and working. And isn't it amazing that Amazon provides this platform for you guys to, be able to watch? We are pretty much, I don't like the lean of this camera. Seems a little like I don't know. But nonetheless, we're going to record a podcast because you're just watching the audio of a recording of, or a live broadcast of a podcast, which really doesn't have video, just audio. So the video is a little bonus, and well, you've got to deal with the mishaps that come with the video if you're watching our audio program. So we are ready to go live and talk about liberty and justice. You are listening to The American Soundbite, a podcast that features common sense thoughts of an everyday American. This is the start of the most valuable 10 minutes of your day, and I'm really glad that you're here with us for the conversation today. Hey, before we start talking about things like liberty and justice, I'd like you to help your friends, your family members, your coworkers who follow you on social media. How you can do that? Hit the share button. Let them know that you start your day by listening to the American Soundbite, and well, they should too. You know that everyone who listens has a little bit more to talk about, a lot more to think about, and well, it may just make their day a little better and easier to get through if they start each and every day the way that you do here on the American Soundbite. I guarantee you that they will appreciate it and thank you, and well, I do too. So hit that share button right now. Let them know. The United States is absolutely not a perfect nation. In fact, in the history of all of mankind, there has never been anything close to perfection in anything that we've done, including our forms of governance and leadership or anything else. In fact, I think it's probably easier to find and point out and admit and, well, make light of our failures throughout history than it is the things that we've done perfectly. Well, there haven't been any, or the things that we've actually succeeded in or done well. And I think that's really what drives us into the period that we're currently in our societal America today. We are a country that is founded on a principle of liberty and justice for all. It's not a perfect system. It was never thought of to be a system without error, without failure. In fact, when they founded our country and they established a system that would provide for liberty, i.e. freedom for those of you who cannot translate effectively, it was absolutely a known quantity that the system would fail. It would fail people from time to time. But they wanted our government, our form of governance, our nation, our justice system, our legal system, our set of rules and guidelines set forth by our government to always err on the side of freedom versus, protection or safety or law overall. You see, our form of government understood that if we created a system where people in general are always considered innocent until they're proven guilty beyond any doubt. That there will be times where guilty people will be set free because whomever is prosecuting didn't do a great job of removing doubt from those jurors who are deciding the fate of that individual. And just like that, our entire nation is founded on the principles that we should always err on the side of freedom and liberty and justice, as opposed to government and rule and law. When there's a conflict between the two, our forefathers wanted us to err on the side of freedom, err on the side of justice, err on the side of our liberties. And that means that they knew from the beginning that there would be failures. There have been failures. There have been a lot of failures, especially, that have been highlighted these days when we talk about, well, literally liberty and justice for all. We haven't always provided liberty for all, but our nation, our country, the United States, has bound together to provide that liberty for all Americans. They have worked, they have bound together, they have spent money and lives and everything else to provide freedom and liberty for people all over the world. We have fought as a nation to provide liberty, to provide freedom for people of all races, of all nationalities, of all religions, of all anything, to provide freedom for people. Yes, we have problems. Yes, our justice system is flawed. Yes, we absolutely have times and have incidents and have people who are flawed and error or shouldn't be in the role that they're in and create more problems than solutions. That being said, overall, if you look at America and our flawed system and our flawed government and our flawed rules and everything else, America is absolutely the best country in the world. Why? Because we're founded on the principles that Americans, in general, Americans overall, Americans should receive liberty and justice for all of us. Our governmental pursuits should always keep that in mind. That number one, we should always protect our liberties. And number two, we need to ensure that our system is just for everybody. Not for some, not based on how you look or what you think or who you love or anything else. Our system should provide the same liberties and the same level of justice for everybody. It's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect. I don't think our forefathers ever envisioned that we could achieve anything close to perfection. It's a flawed system because it's run by men. Men we're flawed. None of us are perfect. We can all look back at our personal history and find areas, find incidents, find situations, find relationships where we kind of cringe and we're like, oh, I did the wrong thing there. If only I could go back, right? Well, our nation is no different because we are a nation of men. We are a nation of people. We're a nation of people who have all made mistakes, and so our nation makes mistakes. And that's okay. It's time that we wake up, and rather than blame our past and blame our history and blame the things that have happened before that have been corrected and focus on the negative, it's time that we look at the positive. We look at the fact that we live in America. Overall, we are much more free than we are captive to our government. Overall, we have a much greater system of justice for people, then it is overbearing or overruling or a police state. If you want to see the way that other nations operate, I recommend that you go. You literally can travel to countries in this world for just hundreds of dollars. You can spend time. You're not going to stay at a 4-star resort, but you can spend time understanding these cultures, seeing the way that they're ruled, that the people are controlled, that the people relate with one another. And I guarantee you that when you come back, that when you come home, you are never going to look at America the same. Because in America, while we do have problems, I will tell you what, the people, regardless of who they are or what you choose or how you vote or anything else, we have a high level of freedom. We have an opportunity to choose what we do and where we go and who we associate with and how we work and where we earn our money and everything else. And I will tell you that I have experienced in a lot of countries, people don't have those options. People are persecuted because of who they are or what they are or where they come from in a lot of countries around this world. And in America, while you can look back at our history and say, gosh, we didn't do a great job and we did a horrible job at times. But in our society today, overall, we do a. It doesn't mean there's not room for growth. There is absolutely opportunity for us to do better. But when you look at it, when you consider the amount of growth that we've done in our 250-ish years of our history, we've done a really damn good job. We have freedom. Our system of justice is flawed and will always be flawed, but more often than not, justice is served. And when it's not and it's found out, it's corrected. We shouldn't be looking at the negatives. We shouldn't be focusing on the negatives. We need to look at the negatives. We need to admit when things go wrong. We need to admit and address when there are issues in society. But overall, we need to celebrate the things that we do well. We need to celebrate our freedom. We need to celebrate our independence. We need to celebrate our liberty. We need to celebrate that in 250 some years as a nation, that we Americans still have input. We still have a say. We can still make a difference in our government. Where in most places around the world, they don't. If you look at Europe, if you look at, well, almost most places around the world, their government, their bureaucracy is so entwined and confusing and deep and everything else that common people literally can't relate. They can't get involved. They can't make a difference. Here in America, we do each and every day. If we try, we can affect change in our government. Locally, at state level, at the federal level, we can make change. And we need to look at the positives. We need to look at what we do. We need to look at how great we are. Understanding that we can get better, that we can change things, that there are failures, and that we can address those and make them better quickly. But we need to celebrate what is great about America. We need to focus on what's good in America. We need to focus on the things that we're doing right while correcting the things that we're doing wrong, but focus on what's going right. Focus on what's good. Focus on, well, how we benefit from those things. And not sit around and whine and complain and bitch and report and only talk about the failures in our country. If you look at your own life and only focus on your failures, you're going to be miserable. But even the worst amongst us has some bright points, has some things that we do well. And when we focus on the positive, when we focus on what we're doing well, when we focus on our successes in life, we build upon those successes. We become stronger. We become better. We create more success for ourselves. And it's the same thing with our country. If we focus on the negative, we focus on what's wrong, if we focus on what's broken and never address the things that we're doing well, then things are going to continue to spiral downwards. Let's look at what we do good. Let's look at what we do well. Let's look at what America has to celebrate. And let's talk about those things. Let's achieve the common good that we all have. And let's lift it up and let's celebrate it together. Because when we do that, we realize that we live in a really great place and that we can do even more great things. The more we focus on the positive, the more positive that will happen, the more positive it will become, and the less negative that will actually happen. You can eliminate the negative by focusing on the positive, or you can focus on the positive or on the negative. And then the only thing that happens is more negativity grows. Look at what's happening in these large cities today. New York City, Chicago, Minneapolis, Seattle, Washington, Los Angeles. Crime is the focus. Everything that's wrong is the focus. And crime is growing. Murders are growing. Death is growing. Despair is increasing. Focus on the positive. Focus on what's going well. Deal with the problems, but focus on the positive, and things will get better a lot quicker. We manifest what we focus on. And if we focus on the positives in America, that's what we're going to manifest. A wonderful, a great, a free America that provides liberty and justice for all. Again, I'm not saying that we've been perfect. We've never been perfect. We never will be perfect. But overall, America is a land that provides liberty and justice for all people. You got to work for it. It takes effort. It takes time and dedication, and well, you literally need to work up a sweat to get there. But if you try, you'll find a country that does provide you with liberty and justice, just as it does for everyone around you. You have been listening to The American Soundbite, a podcast that features common sense thoughts of an everyday American. This has been the most valuable almost 10 minutes of your day, and I really appreciate you joining us for the conversation today. Hey, before you go, if you enjoyed our content, if you liked what we talked about today, if you like the format of the show, or you just like me in general, click on that like button. It will, well, let me know that you do enjoy it. If you have any comments, or you hated what I talked about, or you disagree with anything that we do here on the show, type it in the comment section. I do read those each and every day, and it affects change in the show literally immediately. At the same time, right next to that like button is the share button. Let your friends, your family members, your coworkers on social media know that you start your day by listening to The American Soundbite, and they should too. Thanks a lot for listening. I hope you have a great day, and God bless. And wow, I had no idea that it went that way. Sometimes in a lightly scripted show, I do a ton of research, I do a ton of background, I do all kinds of work. Once in a while, I get an idea for a show like this, and I'm like, liberty and justice does make sense. Liberty and justice is really what it's all about, right? And I think it's something that we don't focus on very often, and I wanted to talk about it, and I had some ideas. I did some research. I've got some quotes that I never went to, probably because I went through the work of changing the set a little bit today, and I don't know. For me, this show didn't come off the way I intended, but I guess that's the way it is. That's what happens when you're doing a live broadcast like this. Sometimes it turns out awesome, and other times you're like, I could have done quite a bit better there. Which, hey, isn't that what I talked about in the show? I guess today's show is a great example of exactly what I was talking about in today's show. So there you have it. I really do thank you guys. It looks like there was a whole bunch of people on the social media today. I really do thank you guys for joining us. being a part of the conversation and helping to spread the word about the American Soundbite. Some days are better than others, but every day we work towards, delivering a message that helps to uplift America and make us the great nation that, we really already are, but that we continue to refine and become towards the future. Thanks a lot again for joining us here on our social media broadcast of the American Soundbite. If you don't already download our podcast, use whatever app that you use. Our number one app, by the way. More people download us from iTunes than any other source. But go to iTunes or GJovan, whatever that is, or iHeartMedia, and download the American Soundbite. Subscribe to the show and receive our program every day when it drops. And then if you ever miss our live show here with video on the social media, you can listen to us, whether you're driving or taking the bus or walking around the street or at the gym. You can listen to the broadcast each and every day on your phone or on whatever app that you listen to podcasts on. So make sure to look us up, subscribe, and never miss an episode. Thanks a lot. I do hope you have a great day, and we will see you soon.